Okay, boys and girls, we're talking about area again today. Let's go ahead and look at our lesson objective. And our lesson objective is still 3.6c. Determine the area of a rectangle using multiplication related to the number of rows times the number of unit squares in each row. And what we want to be able to do by the end of this lesson is I can use grid paper to represent area problems, and I can use the length and the width of a rectangle to find the area. So we'll go ahead and look at this video real quick. It's going to kind of help us differentiate or tell the difference between area and perimeter, because I find that is probably the biggest misconception third graders have when they're working on area and perimeter problems.
It's the year 2060 and you're colonizing Mars. You're about to buy a plot of land, but you have a dog and you want to make sure he has enough space to run around. You also want to build a fence so he can't escape. So first you want to know how big the backyard is, and then you want to know how far it is around. To figure this out, you have to find
the area. That's the space inside. For a rectangle, its length and width are multiplied. And perimeter, the distance around the shape. Just add the sides together and then you'll be great with the area. That's the space inside. For a rectangle, its length and width are multiplied. And perimeter, the distance around the shape. Just add the sides together and then you'll be great. Yeah, here I am on Mars, trying to find out the size of my backyard. Well, it's a rectangle, right? So what if we cut it into squares of the same size that are 1 unit long by 1 unit wide? These are called square units. Add them all up, surprise! You got 72 square units, or feet, cause that's the unit we're using. But who has time to count squares? Length times width is the quickest way to get there. Yeah, that's how you find the area. A nice little formula that'll take care of ya. And I need to hurry cause my dog is starving. Let's find the area so I can feed Marvin. My yard is 9 feet long by 8 feet wide. I get the area when I multiply each side. And 9 times 8 is 72. But here's another way for you to think it through. Basically, you take the rows and figure how many square units fit inside of those. Yo, my backyard is wide, 8 feet. So that's 8 rows with 9 square units in each. So multiply the 8 rows by the 9 square units, you get 72. Yup, you knew it. The area, that's the space inside. For a rectangle, its length and width are multiplied. And perimeter, the distance around the shape. Just add the sides together and then you'll be great with the area. That's the space inside. For a rectangle, its length and width are multiplied. And perimeter, the distance around a shape. Just add the sides together and then you'll be great. Now I've got my area for my yard on Mars, and there's plenty of room for Marvin to live large. But now I need a fence cause I heard the animals on Mars could be intense. So I'll need a perimeter, the distance around my whole yard. How do you get it? Yeah, just add up the length of the sides. 9 plus 8 plus 8 plus 9's a perimeter of 34 feet. And oh yeah, that's regular units and not units squared. So let's take a look from another angle. To get the perimeter of a square or rectangle, you add 2 widths plus 2 lengths. Here's a formula, don't forget to say thanks. 2 times length plus 2 times width to get a square or rectangle. Perimeter quick. So let's try it with my Martian backyard. Come on, get ready y'all, it's not that hard. 2 times the length of 9 is 18, and 2 times the width of 8 is 16, and 16 plus 18 is 34. Now if I could stop Marvin from making a dirty floor. Come on, Marvin. Seriously.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at this problem right here. And it says, determine the area of the shaded rectangle represented on the grid paper. And you'll see problems like this. They may say something like, Billy shaded in the area of his backyard on a piece of grid paper to find the area. Or Mr. Shoemaker shaded in the area of his back porch to calculate the area of his back porch. Or something like that. And this is what I'll see third graders do all the time. They're just so used to counting squares that they see the squares there and they just start counting the squares. You'll see them number the squares sort of like this. So let's start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that is not right. That that is not reading the question carefully. You're just kind of looking at a picture and you're trying to make an inference of what you should be doing. But we really need to read and understand what the question is asking. It says determine the area of the shaded rectangle represents on the inch grid paper. So for area, the best way to do area, the easiest way to do area is to use multiplication, and we're going to multiply length times width. Length times width. And on this one right here, the length of this one is 1, 2, 3, or the rows, there's 3 rows right there. And in each row there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So length could really be either way. A lot of times we maybe think of the length as a longer part and the width as a shorter part, but it doesn't really matter. Just as long as we're not doing the opposite sides of the rectangle. We're doing the adjacent sides of the rectangle. We're multiplying the adjacent sides of the rectangle. So the multiplication problem for that would be 3 times 5. And right down here we have some sample answers right there. So you could do 3 rows with 5-inch squares in each row, or 3 rows times 5-inch squares in each row. 3 times 5 equals 15. So the area of the shaded area is 15, and we'll go ahead and put a label. Well, it's already right here. 15 square inches. 15 square inches. So 15, and I'll abbreviate square and abbreviate inches as SQ.IN. I'll just show you one other way you may see this. Typically in 3rd grade we don't see questions like this. So we might also see something like this. I have seen it on some material. That's an exponent right there. And what that means is inches squared, which means the same thing as this right here. So sometimes your teacher may come up with some materials that have something that look like that, and that just means it means the same thing as square inches, inches squared. It's just a different way of writing it. And when you get to 5th grade, you'll see 5th grade and on up, you'll see expressions like that right there. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this problem. This is a problem from a STAR test from a few years back, so I thought it'd be something good to look at. And it says, a model of a rectangular bulletin board is shown. The top row has been divided into squares of equal size. The rest of the model will also be divided into squares of the same size. What is the area in square units represented by this model? So first off, it's probably important to see on that first row how many squares there are. So we'll go ahead and label them. That's 1. So we want to erase. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 5 squares. And it looks like there's 3 rows of 5 squares. So I got 1 row, 2 rows, and 3 rows. So I could go ahead, I could do a multiplication sentence to solve that. I could do, there's 3 rows, there's 5 in each row. I could use that to solve it. Okay, or I could do like it said right here. It says the rest of the model will also be divided into squares of the same size. So I could just go ahead and divide the rest of it into squares and count them. Just like that. This would be a preferred way because you have less chances of making mistakes. You can miscount when you're doing when you're counting squares, and I see students do that all the time. But we'll go ahead and go through it. So I got 5 in the first row. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So I go back and just do my multiplication to double check my answer, and I could do 3 groups of 5 as 5, 10, 15. So 3 times 5 is 15. And it would be square units. Square units. So we look at our answer choices right here. I would choose B. And most people on the STAR test, the year they took this question, most people got this one correct. It's a pretty simple, and area is pretty simple operation, a simple way to solve this. So let's go and look at the next problem. Okay, we're going to go and look at this guided practice problem right here. And it says, Felicia started placing square tiles inside a rectangle as shown in the diagram. Each square tile has a side length of 1 centimeter. She continued placing square tiles without any overlaps to cover the rectangle. What is the area of the rectangle in square centimeters? Okay, the first thing that we're going to look at on this one is we're going to look and see how many rows there are. And it looks like if I'm going to count the rows, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. The next thing I'm going to do is figure out how many are in each row. So I'll look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 each row. What multiplication problem could I use to solve this? Well, I could go ahead, I could say there are 4 rows with 7 each row, and I can multiply 4 times 7. Okay, if I pre-made a multiplication chart before I did be in the multiplication test, it's probably smart to go ahead and pre-draw a multiplication chart. So I got one right here. So I could use this multiplication chart if I'm not really good at my multiplication facts. And even at 4th grade level, I show the kids how to use a multiplication chart because we use it on long division, because sometimes when we're dividing, it's definitely easier to use a multiplication chart. So I could look at my 4 right here. Get my highlighter out here. Okay, look at my 4. I follow it over here to draw a line. Then draw my 7 each row. And where that intersects, that's going to be what 4 times 7 is. And 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 7 is 28. And we can also, on our 4s, we can double twice. So I can double 7, and double 7 is 14. And if I double 14, 14 plus 14 equals 28. So 4 times 7 equals 28. Okay, another way of doing this problem. We could go ahead, just like we did on the previous problem, we could go ahead and fill in the rest of the squares. Oh, a little squiggly there. Having trouble drawing here. But just fill in the rest of the squares. I see students do this all the time. And it is a viable way of doing it, but chances are a problem like this may be griddable. So if you don't count correctly, say maybe you're just counting the squares inside that you added in, okay, we need to count all the squares. And I always tell the kids, count twice, count at least twice, and make sure you got to get the same answer 2 times in a row. I've seen students count up to 30 and 3 times to get a different answer each time. So here's one way of doing it. So you go ahead and tally every time you count it. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So I got 28. I'll write that down. Okay, make sure I'll do it again. I'll cross it this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. So I got 28 twice. Chances are it's 28. If you struggle at counting, I'd probably say do it a 3rd time. You go through and count it a 3rd time. Just make sure you get the same thing all 3 times in a row. But so the area of this figure would be 28, and that'd be square centimeters. 28 square centimeters. Let's go ahead and look at the next problem. Okay, our next guided practice problem, we'll go and look at it. And it says, Joseph counted the square tiles on the ceiling of his rectangular closet. The area of each tile is 1 square foot. The ceiling has 5 rows of tiles with 4 tiles in each row. What is the area of the ceiling of Joseph's closet in square feet? So first of all, let's think about what shape are they talking about here? Yes, it's a rectangular. It's a rectangle we're talking about. Okay, and it says there's a rectangle, but I don't see a picture of a rectangle. What should we do in this problem? Okay, well, let's go ahead and look real quick. I see 5 rows of tiles with 4 tiles in each row. And it's an area problem. I can see right here because it says area. That means I need to figure out how much it covers right there. So whenever I have a word problem that's talking about a shape and doesn't show a picture of the shape, let's go ahead and draw that shape. So one here, there's 5 rows, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 4 in each row. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's a rectangle. Got 4 sides with opposite sides that are equal. So 5 rows with 4 in each row. So let's think here for a second. How could I solve this problem? Okay, if you said, okay, we looked at it's an area problem. We know area equals length times width. I could do 5 times 4. I know 5 times 4 is 5, 10, 15, 20. So 5 times 4 is 20. That's 20 square feet because it says that each tile is a square foot. Let's go look at our answer choices really quick. Okay, on answer choice A, it looks like they would have did 5 times 4 because 5 times 4 equals 20. And I think that's my right answer. We'll put an M by it. Okay, on the next one, something that they may have done, they may just took all the numbers in the problem. I got a 1, a 5, and a 4 and done an addition problem with it. I see that happen all the time. So they did 1 plus 5 plus 4, and they got 10. Okay, on the next one, 18. It looks like they may have calculated the perimeter instead of doing the area. And that's, I see students do that all the time in 3rd grade. So they did 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 and got 18. And the last one, they recognize that the 5 rows and 4 tiles in each row are important. So it looks like they just did 5 plus 4. We could just call that grab and add. So if you don't do the right thing, there will be an answer choice there for you not doing the right thing. So make sure you read the question carefully, understand what the question is asking, and go ahead and use the correct operations. Okay, it's time again to go ahead and complete your independent practice. Please complete the Schoology assignment. You'll find after this video it'll be a blue puzzle piece. And if you have any questions about anything, don't understand a concept, or something's not working the way you think it should, please email your teacher or send them a message in Schoology, and best of luck to you.